Okay, good. Am I audible? Okay. So next is me, right? And there's a reason I always keep my session just before the lunch. So, exactly. So the people are more focused on the lunch rather than my session. And even if I bluff somewhere, so that should be okay. And the topic I have picked is empathetic leadership. Right? Quite trending, but I don't know anything about it. So I wanted to learn about it, what it is. Right? And that's the reason. And I know there are other people in the room who knows more about the topic than me, but so please contribute wherever you find it. I always start the session with my self-promotion. So this is about me. I am Sanjay. I am part of this organizing team. As I said at the start also, we do organize multiple events. Every quarter we have one, right? And every event has their own theme, right? And people generally ask, I was talking to someone during the break, hey, why are you doing it? I'm not doing it just for free, right? Which is okay. I'm not doing it for charity, right? I'm doing it for business. Right? And obviously, we may not be getting any direct business from here, but it's more of an indirect thing. We all understand that, and that's the concept. And I will end the session again with my self-promotion. Just wait for it. By the way, what it is? Yes, ma'am.
Empathy is something that maybe I'm not in that situation. I've not gone through it. But I would like to understand from your perspective what it means to be in your position.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Fair enough, fair enough. So, and how do you define in Hindi? What is the Hindi word for empathy? Sahanubhuti is empathy actually. Quite close. So the Hindi is Samanubhuti. Actually, I also got it from Google only. So, so that's what the empathy is, right? And English we all know what it is, right? This is more about understanding the other person, the way he or she is feeling, right? But when we talk about the empathy, as I said, I was also started reading about it. There is a lot of literature available about empathy. There is a lot of detail, a lot of white papers, blogs, videos, so many things available, right? And everyone has their own understanding, right? Everyone has their own definition of it, right? So whatever I am going to share, that may or may not be the best one, that may or may not align with, but whatever, if you have something else, just please do share, right? But before that, let's do a quick activity, and that is about your empathy in action, right? On your table, right? I will come to it. On your table, maybe just discuss among yourself, when was the last time, right? Or maybe the very recent time, you felt that you have been very well understood at your workplace, and the person to whom you are working with, right, actually have understood you, or when you were going through a pain. When was the most recent? And how was the experience? What did it change anything in you as a person, as in a profession?
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
I was actually
Second to Sunday, no empathy from HR. Sorry. Okay. Yep. Just wait. And this is more of a table activity, but you can share maybe. Just give me a minute.
Am I audible? Okay.
Yep.
So I was talking to Swati during the break about this, and this is something I would definitely like to share with you all. I don't know how many of us in our leadership roles or supervisor roles have gone through this experience, but I have gone through it, and it's a very, very sweet feeling. I recently became a dad. I went on a paternity leave of 5 days. And then Monday I had to rejoin. Sunday I got a call from one of my colleagues in my team and asked me what my plan was. I said, I'm coming to office from tomorrow. My direct reports unanimously ordered me to take an extra 5 days. Forget about work, we'll take care of it, we are holding the fort. Amazing feeling. And mind you, all of these guys have kids ranging from 3 years of age to somebody who's in the second year of graduation. So I was the new one, I didn't know anything about it. Now I understand why they asked me to take extra 5 days. So I just wanted to share that.
Anyone else? Yeah.
So I'll just share with you an incident which happened very recently. That in a factory setup, what happens? Someday somebody will go on a surprise visit in the night. और जो लोग सो रहे हैं फिर उनको बोलते हैं कि कल तो हटा दो कंपनी से या उनको आप वार्निंग लेटर दे दो वो लोग क्यों सो रहे थे. देयर वाज दिस पर्सन हु वाज स्लीपिंग एंड देन द हेड ऑफ दैट प्लेस यूनिट सेड दैट as HR just sack him. That is my first thing. वो सो रहा था. सेकंड है, आपको बहुत ज़्यादा अगर सहानुभूति है या समानुभूति है तो आप उसको कुछ 5 डेज के लिए उसको मतलब हटा दो, ऑफिस ना आए, ताकि वो एक लेसन बने. ऐसे आप सरप्राइज विजिट कर रहे हो या तो आप CCTV रखो सो दैट इट्स अ कॉन्टिन्यूटी. इन सरप्राइज विजिट लाइक देयर इज नो फेयरनेस. इट कैन हैपन विद मी टुडे एंड अदर डे समबडी एल्स इज स्लीपिंग बट वो बच जाएगा. बट ही से नहीं हम तो ऐसे ही करते हैं, आप नए हो यहाँ पे. देन आई सेड आई वांट टू मीट दिस पर्सन एंड आई मेट हिम एंड ही सेड कि आई एम अ न्यू फादर. मुझे इसलिए याद आया, आई एम अ न्यू फादर. मेरा बेबी सोता नहीं है घर में एंड मेरी वाइफ भी जगती है, मैं भी जगता हूँ. मेरी मदर तो पता कहाँ रहती है, किसी और जगह रहती है, पेरेंट्स लोग जो. एंड आई एम नॉट एबल टू स्लीप. सो मैं कोई सोने के इरादे से नहीं आया था. बाकी लोग तो अखबार करके सोते हैं विंटर में, तो मैं तो कुर्सी पे डोज ऑफ हो गया था. एंड देन आई चेक दिस आउट कि ही वॉज अ रीसेंट फादर एंड आई टोल्ड दिस टू द हेड कि मैं तो फिर इसको कोई ना वार्निंग चाहती हूँ देना ना कुछ चाहती हूँ देना. सो आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि अनलेस यू हैव बीन अ न्यू फादर यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि लोग सोते क्यों हैं. दो द पर्सन हु वॉज द हेड टोल्ड मी, अच्छा ऐसे तो सबके बच्चे होते रहेंगे तो सब सोते रहेंगे यहाँ पे क्या, मतलब. एंड या बट एंड ही इज़ अ फादर, लाइक ही सन इज इंजीनियरिंग बड़ा है. बट आई थिंक ये एम्पैथी समझना और एंड देन अगेन थिन लाइन, कहाँ पर आप बोलेंगे डिसिप्लिन है और कहाँ पे आप नहीं बोलेंगे. बट इट जस्ट रिमाइंडेड मी.
हेलो. टिप्स शेयर कर सकते हैं. सो विद नो ऑफेंस टू एनीबडी, आई हैव वर्कड विद many different cultures across. So most empathetic people I have met with is the Swedish people, right? If you come for a status in the morning, they are honest as well. So if you come in the status and you have to say something about your task, I was so shocked because I worked with first the US people and everything, calm task and nothing else. So the guy said I was not in right mood yesterday, so I was not able to progress my task. And done. And I was like, यार ये कैसा स्टेटस दे रहे हैं, है ना. So we started learning slowly, working with them that empathy is something. And second situation, I can say that my resume was with a client that this guy will appear for interview a day or so after. I got critically ill in between. Something happened. So my manager or my friend manager told that he is not able to appear for the interview. So we can move forward with another candidate. He said, no, we will take his interview after 2-3 weeks or whatever time it takes, right? And my wife's manager said, because this is a critical illness, for next 3 months, nobody should ask this lady about the status or the task or anything. Let her continue what she's doing. So empathy matters a lot, and then you learn it and then you pass it as well. So we kept same thing when there were COVID and everything. So that's matter.
Good, great. So let's keep moving, and that's a good explanation. So I was talking about the empathy. So though it looks very simple, but there are different types of empathy. Right? Anyone has heard about different types? No? So the very first one, the cognitive empathy. Right? The cognitive empathy is more about mental understanding. We understand the situation, right? But from no emotional connect. As of now, no emotional connect. Right? It's more of an understanding part of it. Right? This is the empathy people use when they are in that conflict resolution or a negotiator. Right? Or sometimes they may have to make a decision. Right? Maybe your leader who has to make a decision, then the leader try to understand the cognitive part of it, how you are going to act or behave. And then he or she may change the wording or the action accordingly. That's the cognitive part of it, right? And sometimes if you are too much on cognitive, you may be termed as more of a manipulative leader. And that's what happens. Cognitive empathy is more about just the manipulation of the people. And that's where the second is, the emotional empathy. Right? Here you get into that feeling of it. Right? You are now connecting emotionally. Right? And think about in a scenario, right? If you hear or somebody told you, hey, I got मेरा हाथ जल गया है या मेरे पूरे शरीर पे आग लग गई, immediately you feel कि यार how bad it was, right? You felt that कि हाँ कैसा हुआ होगा, right? That's the emotional part of it, right? But be careful, if you get into too much of it, you yourself will be drained out, right? You have to draw a line. Right, up to what level you can go. Right? That's the first two. In both the cases, we are just understanding or feeling the pain or maybe the situation. We are not taking any action. That's the third situation here, where we talk about it's understanding as well as taking the action. The compassion part. Right? I think people may call it, first is more of a sympathy, second is an empathy, third may be the compassion. Right? It's either way. Right, but in the third position, you are actually making sure that whatever pain or whatever situation that my colleague or my team member is, I am ensuring that he or she gets out of it. If somebody is feeling burnt out or maybe that the parental issue, right, I am supporting him to maybe work from home or maybe less work. You are taking action on it. So far so good? Now, but why do we need, as an organization, why do we need? How does it help you as a team or as an organization? Relationship and productivity, okay, good. What else? Dealing with humans, yeah. People focus. Strong bonds. Culture. But how does it matter to me as a CEO? I am running a business. I am not an NGO. Okay. Maybe. Very fair. So there may be different reasons, right? Or you have covered all of them, right? It's always start from the employee engagement part, maybe the more innovation, more productivity, right? More relationship bonding, maybe less improved employee retention, all these things. And we all knows about it, right? There is nothing new in this life. We all know that in case if you are taking care of people, right, your business will grow. If that is the case, then why leaders are still not empathetic? What is the reason you see? If fine line, sorry. Okay. Yep.
And leaders at times more, focus towards numbers and organizational role and achieving than they somehow loses other part of it. Because at one time you never focus on all the things.
Okay. Cultural upbringing. Very fair, right? And there could be different reasons. So
Try to take advantage of it as well.
yeah, very true. That's true. That's true. That's true. So that's where I have you the very first, right? As a leader, what are my KPIs? How I am being measured? I am measured based on the productivity, based on the revenue, based on the profit, right, utilization. I have really been measured based on how well-being or well-being of my people. Right? If I have been measured on something, I will work for that part, not on the other side. Right? So that's the first one. Lack of self-awareness. As a leader, most of the time, even I don't know whether I am empathetic or not. I am thinking that I am doing good because no one is coming to me or complaining about anything. Right? But how many times actually I have approached them, asking about them. Right? So self-awareness could be a reason. I don't have the mental energy because my day starts at 7 a.m. it goes till 10 or 11 p.m. I have so many things going on. right? By end of the day, I'm totally drained out. And I have my family also. This is not just about my office. I have my family, they have their own issues. I have my relatives or maybe friends. I have my own life. I can't spend time on this thing. Very clear? Those were the days when, if you go back to maybe 20, 30 years back, right, we were trained in a way, hey, you have to get the job done. Right, for the maybe just few years back, no one was aware of this something called as well-being, mental health. Yeah, thanks to Deepika Padukone, right? That's where it all started. Right? And now people are talking about it. But we have never been trained. And I know there are organizations who are now training their leaders on this empathy part. But there are still very few. Our training program are still more towards the strategy, execution, innovation. Right? Fear of being seen as weak, right? If I become too empathetic, right, people may think that, hey, this is the concept of leadership is more about the authority, more about the decision making. Right? So empathy doesn't go well with that concept. We are having a group of 10 leaders, right? No one else is doing, then how can you expect me to do it? If my CEO is not empathetic with me, then how can I be empathetic with my team? So I am the only one. Right? And this may be more of a virtual setup. Right? When you are working with some people in the face-to-face, then you can still, there are so many non-verbal communication you can read or signals you can have. Right? But in a virtual setup, even people don't turn on their cameras, so it becomes challenging. Right? And finally, even I don't know how to be empathetic. I have no formal training. Right? What else? What else comes to your mind? Any other? Or does it make sense or not? Yeah. Right, very true. Mm-hmm. That it can't be. That's true. That's true. Huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We talk about empathy.
Mm-hmm.
We all have heard about this whole concept, right? Leave your personal impression by yourself.
Right.
How do you do that?
No.
Nobody tells you.
No.
Because you cannot just switch it off.
That's true.
It's a personal consideration of a leader.
Yep, that's true. Yes, sir.
Somebody might be having low emotional intelligence.
Very true. Maybe it's because of the EQ part.
Cognitive bias.
Mm-hmm. Right. But be careful. Though everyone wants to be empathetic, but there are some hard. We may always be hearing more about the soft truth, and that may be the term I am giving them. But there are hard facts associated with them. Right. Being empathetic makes you a better leader. That's the way we always been taught. Right. But the fact may be, it can make you unfavorable with your top management. This person is always talking about just people. No, and again, not applicable to all the organization, but some of them. Yeah. There is a difference. There is a difference. So empathetic doesn't. I have a slide for it. Just wait. Right? Being empathetic makes you a better person. Right? That's true. The fact that it can actually emotionally drain. Right? You are walking on the road, you are always thinking about the people sitting side of the road. Right? You may not feel good. You yourself goes into maybe more of a depression. So be careful. Right? Being empathetic makes your employee give their best. Most of the time, that's true. And again, that's where you have to be careful, right? You have to. They can treat you as a weak leader, right? They may take advantage of you, right? And finally, Being an empathetic means you always take care of your people. Not. Sometimes even as an empathetic leader, you have to make decisions which may hurt your people. That goes to the farming part.
I think if the intent is right,
Exactly. It doesn't matter. But as an organization, as an CEO, I have to do. Sometimes I may have to let people go. That happens. But it doesn't mean I am not empathetic. But I made the way I am going to execute it, that will decide. I will not tell them, hey, you have to leave by 6 p.m. Right, today is your last day, right? That's it. No, that may not work. There are so many. Right, and I always say that as people who are in the people management position, right, you may be handling just 10, or you may have 10 people reporting to you, but believe me, it's not just 10. The impact you have is on the entire society. Right, the moment during the day, if you do some maybe misbehave with either of those 10, right, when that person leaves to the home while driving or maybe taking a cab or metro, that remains in his or her brain, right? And the way he or she is going to behave with the co-passenger, maybe on the road, right, to coming to the family, right, going to a shopping mall, the behavior continues, right, and it comes back to you also indirectly. Yeah, the butterfly. Right, so be careful. Okay. How about this? Can empathy be learned? Yeah, and how? Any tips you have? How can we learn? Being mindful. Yep. Active listening. That's true. Observing other. Yep. Yep. And I will go back to that the active listening part. I think that may be the basic thing we can do, the bare minimum. Right? Yep, that's true. So, and most of the time, what happens as a leader, we may notice, right, there is something wrong in the room, right? Something is not well with my team member. But how much time do we have enough time to actually just listen to them? The moment we get into that so-called one-on-one conversation, right, we have our own judgment. Right, if the person starts sharing some detail or maybe from the personal side, I come up with my own judgment. Here, this may not be the right and not. So do you remember there was and about the active listening? It's not always the pain part of it. Sometimes even the joy part of it. Right, going back to Ashish's example, right, he has been blessed with a baby, right, and he wants to share that information, right, but there is no one around. Then what? He needs someone with whom he can share maybe the joy part also. And that's why, do you remember that Vodafone ad? There was an ad. Okay, let me play for it. Nah. That's what people need. Right? It's not always the bad news, but sometimes maybe even for good news, they need someone with whom you can share.
I can share something.
Yeah.
It's really funny. So, my manager, like I said, which I was employed with some engagement, right? And I have another set of leadership there that I'm reporting to. But sometimes it is so much to take, and there's so much frustration that I cannot actually deal with them. I'll call up a manager and I'll just say, I need 5 minutes, I'm going to rant, just listen. That is what he does without, I don't ask him, you don't need to do anything, I want somebody to speak to him to listen. And that I think is really, really important.
That's true, that happens. People have so many things going on in their brain. They need someone. Hey, just listen to me. You don't have to take any action. Just listening is good enough.
I have done that so much with others.
Okay. Practice small act of empathy. Start with a very small thing. Whatever you can do. Right? Maybe walking on your floor, right? Maybe just having a chat with someone while that person is doing their work. That's good enough. You don't have to do it in a formal way.
Yeah.
Right? If you get to know about maybe there's an email, right? There's a celebration email. Hey, he or she has been blessed with a baby or maybe bought in a car. Right? One is option is maybe just responding over email. Second is maybe going and to his or her desk and maybe saying congrats. That helps. Exposure to diverse perspective. This is also amazing. Right? The reason being people who travel, right, or who work within a different culture, right, they are more empathetic as compared to someone who is just, and not always, but that's what the studies say. Right? So go and work with a different culture, maybe different states, country, language, right, and try to travel. And when you are traveling, just try to observe what is happening around you. And it's even within India, right? If you have moved from Gurgaon to maybe Jaipur, right, or maybe Indore, right? Try to observe how those people are living their lives, right? And you will it improves your own behavior. And finally, the self-awareness and the reflection. Keep asking yourself, right? It may be by every day or maybe by end of the week, maybe a 15 days, month. Hey, what did you do? How empathetic you were, or would you have done it in a different way? You may have a tough discussion with someone, right? But is there anything different you could have done?
I think the easiest way of learning empathy is through experience.
Maybe.
If I experience it through someone, I will pass it.
Yep. That's true. So that's what it is, right? And though I think we don't have to do this activity, but I think most of the time we complain about our leader. Hey, leader is not empathetic and all that. Try to empathize with him or her also. Try to understand from their perspective, right? They also need an maybe. I know. There is a concept of empathy. There are tools available through which you can actually draw the empathy map of that person. Right? But try to empathize with your leader also. They have their own problems. Right? They are not doing it just for the sake of it or maybe nothing. There are so many things going on in their mind also.
One thing I wanted to say,
Huh.
how important for having the right level of empathy for a by being a good human yourself. Is it a requirement or is it something just a professional skill?
I would say that's actually you covered the answer also, right? So there is no, I would say, no requirement to be empathetic in a professional environment. That's okay. That's your call, but it's the way of living life. Right? That's your call as an individual. Not everyone have to be empathetic. That's perfect. That's your call.
Then most of the empathy which we see around is mostly the
Cognitive side of it.
That's what the organization would
Huh. That's true. We want people to be, our leaders to be more manipulative so that they can do in a good negotiation, they can make good decision, they can resolve the conflict easily. That's what they call as an empathy, but that may not be. Okay, good. I think there are books available if you want to read, and if not necessarily, you don't have to buy books also. If you go and search on articles, blogs, there are so many things available. Right. That's all for that, right? And with this, I think I am done, right? Oh, okay. As I said at the start, I'm going to end it again with the self-promotion only. So this is our service. So we call it as a trainer, the trainer and training service. So what we are doing it is there are two parts of it. I will explain the first one, and that is mainly for those people who are in this agile environment, Scrum Master, coaches, product owner. Right, the way you may be noticing it, or you may be reading in LinkedIn or other social media, that when it comes to the cost cutting, most of the time it would be these roles, right? And there are reasons for it, because you may be doing good work, but no one knows about that, right? Especially in outside of your organization, maybe in your network, no one knows that hey, he or she is a good Scrum Master or an agile coach or a product owner. Right, so we are doing more of a branding service for them. Right, branding, more of a social branding. Right, and the reason you don't do it, you may be scrolling in LinkedIn daily, maybe half an hour or 1 hour, but you don't have time to post anything. You don't have have time even to comment on somebody. You go and just like or maybe just move on. Right, there could be different reasons for that. That's where we are helping them. And it's in a subscription-based service. We help them to create their social brand, make their presence felt on the social media. That's what we are doing. It's in a subscription-based, very nominal fee, right? So anyone who is interested, just contact me. With this, I am done. Thank you. Good. So I think we are on time, right?
Before you go forward, I would like to add one more thing. I don't know how many of us are aware of this fact. Sanjay here was the first certified SPCD of India. He's very modest about it. So the basic, complete process of bringing agility certifications to India geography is a huge contribution.
Thanks for your kind word. So lunch will be served on ground floor, right? And 1 to 2 is the lunchtime. 2 o'clock we will start with our next.